All right, welcome into another episode of the Lowdown Sports Show. This show is brought to you by the Basketball Podcast Network, presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Drew,
And I'm PJ.
and we're here to get the lowdown on all things basketball. A lot of NBA field news this time around, and we're going to try and fit it all into one episode here as we dive into the magic that is Luka Doncic,
Oh,
the
yeah.
possible three-peat at hand for Nikola Jokic as the MVP, what's going wrong in Minnesota, and last but not least, Perkins versus Ibaka.
Round one. Ready. Fight.
Fight!
Those Twitter fingers didn't turn into trigger fingers or anything like that. So,
Not yet. I mean,
well, let's
they
hope that
stopped
it just
tweeting,
stays
so
on
we got
Twitter.
we ought to be okay. But it seems like it's just Twitter fingers
Yeah.
at this point. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, got BJ's best. What's on Drew's mind? And we're playing that good old fashioned game of with it or quit it. And the moment that guy over there, BJ, says we're ready to go, then we'll get this thing started.
One last time in 2022, Drew, I am ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's get it.
All right, so we're gonna start off with that Luka magic, BJ.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately, and hopefully I get to double back and see it at some point. I did not get to watch the game. I know
Oh,
I'm a
man.
terrible Mavs fan, but I wore his t-shirt jersey the next day, so I was like, I'm repping. But Luka Doncic, he did something that Will Chamberlain hadn't even done before.
Michael Jordan
PJ.
never did this.
No
LeBron
MJ,
James never
no
did
LeBron,
this. Nope.
no Harden, no Oscar Robertson.
Not even Dirk, the great Dirk, did this in
Dirk
Mavericks
wasn't
franchise
even
history.
close.
Nobody had done this in Mavs history. Nobody had even done it in NBA history, Drew. This is
Ever.
absurd.
He got 60 points, 21 rebounds, and 10 assists in a triple-double to rally the Dallas Mavericks back from a stunning forced overtime win over the New York Knicks.
Drew, they were down by like 9 points with 30 seconds to go.
Dude.
And teams that were leading by 9 points with 30 seconds to go, I think were like 13,000 something and like it had not been done in the past 15, 20 years or something. I can't exactly remember what the stat was, but this was the first instance that it happened, at least probably going back 25 seasons. I know you got heart palpitations over there if you're a Mavs fan. I've got a clip here. Drew. I mean, you said you didn't get to watch it. I didn't get to watch the game in its entirety, but just keeping along and watching the Twitter feed when this was going on. I mean, just listen to how this crowd sounds when Luka makes helps the Mavericks make this comeback.
You make him go back right. I don't think it's as easy. Nice play there. Shoot.
Bullock for three on the money.
Love it. He's a tremendous talent that just hadn't found a comfortable spot for his skill set.
Rose just turned it over, and the quarter ends with Luka knifing through the entire Knicks defense to score. Now they have corrected that on the official stat sheet here. It is a basket for Powell, not for Luka.
I was going to tell you that, but I figured you would know.
Now that's a basket for Luka.
It is.
Tonight saw the Clippers erase a 14-point deficit with just over 3 minutes to go against Detroit. They won in overtime, and here's a chance to cut a third of the lead down for the Knicks with a three-point play if Luka finishes it off. They have the longest road winning streak of any team in the NBA this year at 6. And if they finish this off at 7, Luka, that'll give him 45 points in the game. Here is Luka giving the ball up to Hardaway. Luka with the rebound, puts it in, and it's a foul. With 15 seconds, he's got a chance for his 50th point of the game and a chance to make it a three-point game.
Nothing shocks me about this game.
And that Drew rim, it's still loose. Luka got it back. He did it. An improbable comeback by Dallas to tie it with 1 second left. It's unbelievable. It is a miracle. It's overtime. Stranger things have happened.
Man, stranger things may have happened, but That was pretty strange, Drew.
Oh man, you see how excited he was? That's the funniest. That was
Yeah.
so funny when I saw
You,
it.
you get the
He's
you
a
get the
kid,
chills almost like you were there even though you weren't because of
dude.
how the crowd reacts. Like,
Man, it's big time. AAC
mm,
never disappoints. Never disappoints.
absolutely.
Yeah, and I got to experience the conference finals and the playoff run and that atmosphere through last year. So,
Yeah.
and in the Mother's Day game,
Hmm.
boom,
But nothing quite sounded like that, I wouldn't think. Just
that was
because
big
of how
time.
how just sheer absurd that was.
Oh, it was crazy. Same type of game. Same type of game.
Yeah. And this is not just, I mean, yes, he what he did on Tuesday was phenomenal and never been done in NBA history. But this is part of what's really kept the Mavericks winning streak going. You go back and that third quarter he had on Sunday, Christmas Day against the Lakers. I mean, you talk about turning around a deficit, big deficit, and putting up 51 points in that third quarter and really turning the tide in that game. And a large part of that was because of Luka Doncic. This is just, you know, we're going to talk more about this later on, but I don't necessarily think that it's like set in stone. We're going to see a three-peat. There's a really good chance of it, and obviously
Mm.
we'll talk more about that. But there's a reason why Luka Doncic came into this season as a preseason favorite for MVP, and when he's doing things like that, it's tough to pick against him.
Yeah, he tied most points in a triple double with Harden, who did it in 18 back when he was cooking. So
Hmm.
man, that's just crazy historic stuff what he was doing. I got the notification. I was like, he did what? And we did what?
Yeah, I mean, just imagine we were kind of keeping up with it on Twitter, and I was
Yeah,
like, I was kind of watching the score scroll and everything like that, and waiting for video clips to pop in, and I was like, well, it's not necessarily over yet. It's a 1 point game, and they're gonna whether they make both these free throws or not, they're gonna have a shot. And then Luca gets fouled. It's like, well, crazier things have happened, but this may be too tricky. And then all of a sudden, I see 115, 115 end of regulation. I'm like get the Kevin McAllister Home Alone face. It just like,
yeah.
how did that happen?
Dude, and Luca, the seventh player in NBA history to score at least 50 points in a triple double. He scored or assisted on 85 of the Mavericks' 126 points. That's the most he generated in any game of his career, according to the Elias Sports Bureau. And check
Yeah,
out this quote from Quentin Grimes. He said, "I promise I was trying for sure," said the Knicks guard, the primary defender on Doncic. I mean, I'm trying to get over every pick and roll. He's in almost every action. It was a lot on me trying to get over every pick and roll with him. He's crafty with the ball. Without the ball, I have to know where he is at all times on the court. He's one of the top three players in the league for a reason. I have to tip my hat. Man.
absolutely. I mean, this was kind of we were, I don't, and we didn't get a chance to talk about this. This was supposed to be the Jalen Brunson return game to
Yeah, he didn't
Dallas,
play.
and yeah, he was out with the hip injury. So a lot of kind of national attention for this game kind of died down when Brunson was ruled out for the game. But Luca made sure they were talking about the game yet again for very different reason. Um, it's just what more can you say about Luka Doncic? How phenomenal of an athlete he's been, and I don't know if you saw this, Drew. He said after post game that he needed a recovery beer. He was
Yep.
tired,
Yep.
and then Michelob Ultra gave
Michelob
like
Ultra sent him
so many
cases.
cases to
Yeah.
him. That's unbelievable. That's
Lock,
awesome though.
lock in that deal now.
Yeah, there you go. There's your
That's smart of
sponsorship
him.
deal.
Like, oh, you need beer? Got you. Ship it
We
to him.
got
Ship
you.
it.
There you go.
Like,
Yeah,
guys, Luka Doncic said he needs beer. I need 50 cases sent to his house right now. Get his
yeah.
address. I need it pronto, first class, whatever you got to do. Shipping pronto. I'll take it there myself.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, there's probably something worked in that Cuban could get that kind of sent over to him or something like that. Because I think that's a big thing that they have at the AAC, if I'm not mistaken, is
I'll
is
get
the
plenty
a
of
big
beer.
sponsorship with Michelob. So there's a lot of distribution areas in the um, greater Metroplex area that have Budweiser and Michelob and things like that. So that probably wasn't too big of an ask for Luka Doncic to get some recovery beer.
Luke, BJ, what would you have rather been in the building for? One winning game from, or the lone, well, let's say one of the winning playoff games from the conference semifinals, or that game, Luka's 60 points with the Lakers? What would you rather be in the building for?
I think I would have rather been in the building for the Luka 60-21-10. I really do think, and I know you've already kind of, put your stamp on this take. I saw this on Twitter from you. Um, this is up there in terms of with Kobe Bryant's 81-point performance. I think this is
Yeah,
going to be remembered. Obviously, this is the Mavs franchise record for points in a game, with good reason why this game is going to be remembered. Um, just like that game for Kobe was scoring 81, it was a close game, and you really needed every single bit of, what Kobe did, what Luka did on Tuesday night in order for the team to come out with a victory. It took an overtime even. So I think I would have rather been in the building for that. Obviously, nothing usually would beat a playoff victory at home. But I think that if you're going to go to, kind of like any regular season basketball game, man, that was the one to get to go to.
man, it is crazy for sure. That's big time stuff from Luca there, and he did it so very efficiently too. I mean,
Yeah, just
crazy.
phenomenal. I mean, what we've talked about him now for, every season that we've been doing this show, and even longer, ever since he got drafted around the Metroplex, and yet he continues to still do things that boggle your mind as a Mavericks fan. You didn't think was humanly possible, yet he goes and wills himself and wills the team to victory in a game they had no business really winning that game. No business other than Luca being Luca.
67.7% from the field.
Man,
Crazy. Big time
crazy
player.
stuff.
But
Crazy stuff.
even crazier stuff, BJ. Maybe it's not crazier, but it's a little crazy in
Pretty crazy.
general.
Hmm.
Perkins versus Ibaka. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, they didn't fist fight. I mean, that'd be good. I mean, I think Ibaka would win, maybe, because I think he's in better shape. He's probably got those hands. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. Maybe we will see. Maybe we won't.
They're both
Because
big guys. They're both
hey,
big guys. I think they could very easily,
athletes and former athletes have been getting in the ring a lot lately. So I
yeah,
mean, you
yeah.
never know if these guys are gonna
It's
duke it out. It's a very, very reasonable question to ask.
maybe a charity match to raise some money. That might be worth the price of admission.
Yeah. And if anybody doesn't know, there was, Kendrick Perkins, I believe, is on First Take, right, BJ? I don't
Yeah.
watch First Take anymore, but I'm pretty sure that's where he was at. Um, Kendrick Perkins is he's on there on the show, and he made a suggestion, or he made what he would say as a joke about Ibaka. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know what day this was on the show. Hold on, Monday's December 26th edition. I take that
Yes.
back right there.
Yeah.
Perkins discussed OKC's 2012 trip to the NBA Finals despite being a young team after rattling off Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. James Harden's ages, he brought up Ibaka. Said, quote, Serge Ibaka is 21, although he was probably 30 at the time because we already know how certain individuals lie about their age, but we're not going to get into
Oh,
that.
jeez. All right,
And
now come on.
Ibaka caught instant wind of that and said, "Hey, Kendrick Perkins, I count my blessings every day and don't usually react to comments about me, but it's disappointing to hear someone I shared a locker room with spreading misinformation to be relevant and get views on TV and social media." He also said, "You can talk about my game if I don't play well. I will never have a problem with that. But to talk extra for no reason is really not acceptable. It is disrespectful to me, and I feel like it is disrespectful to many Africans who have to live with that unfounded accusation. If I was 30 in OKC, I guess I'm 45 now. The truth is, I never lied about my age, and I work extremely hard every day without cheating, and have never been suspended. Everyone in the league knows that. You cheated and didn't respect the game."
Wow.
Perkins later, I think it's 20 minutes later, got a response out, said, "Did you say spreading lies, Serge Ibaka? Please don't get me started, homie. Please don't. I'm not about to talk about those OKC days and what you were doing in that locker room. I will not, but you definitely need to
Ooh,
stop because you know I know. Carry on, though. His patented carry
wow.
on."
Wow.
And that's that whole explosion over Twitter that went down. It was everywhere. I don't know if the tweets have
Yeah.
been deleted yet or not. Sometimes tweets get deleted when athletes will fire something off on
No,
here,
I still
especially a whole
see.
sabbatical like that. It's
Yeah,
still out there.
I still see the whole thread, Drew,
Okay,
and
so it's still out there.
Kendrick Perkins, before he even tweeted something out on his main feed, responded to Serge Ibaka directly and says, "Bro, it was a damn joke. Stop being so damn serious or
Yeah,
sorry, sensitive," is what he said. And I mean, yeah, that I think when you said that first comment, I could 100% tell that was a joke. I get where Serge Ibaka's frustrations are. Nobody, necessarily likes to be the source of a joke, but he's not saying that you lied about your age or anything like that. He's just poking fun just because it has been done in the past. I think that's at least what I got, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you feel differently about it, Drew. But it seemed pretty evident to me that it was a joke that Ibaka took a little too extreme.
I believe that Perk intended it to be a joke, but I don't think he realized, and nor did I probably entirely about the stigmatism against
And
Africans
lying about
being
age. Yeah,
about their age and saying they look older than they do, than what they put down on there,
yeah,
whatever. So that's where I guess he wasn't savvy to that, and the history of that, and making that joke,
yeah,
just with on national TV, was just ill advised in that
yeah,
situation. So,
yeah.
I kind of I see where Perkins was trying to come from, but maybe not doing it on that platform. I don't know, but
I mean, it to me, there's a difference between like being 12 and looking like you're over the age of 18, as opposed to being 21 and looking very mature for your age and
because I
saying like
because
30.
because I've definitely been part of, like, the "you look older than you do" joke before. I mean, like when
Oh
I was
yeah,
14, people thought I was 17 and stuff. But I I'm not in the same boat that Serge is,
yeah,
and from where he comes from specifically, um, and to have any true knowledge about that stigmatism until he brought it up, and I was just like, oh well, dang.
yeah,
Um, maybe Perkins should have taken that the same way and been like, I didn't know about that part, and he could maybe still say the things that he was saying. But I think Perkins, if he hasn't already back on national TV, maybe acknowledge that he didn't know about that stigmatism towards Africans, being suggested that they're older than they actually look, um, and apologize for it.
yeah. And to
And maybe that would smooth things a bit over. He could call him or something, and do the dang thing, since they were in the finals together 10 years ago. They got history there. He's got to have his number. So, I mean, it doesn't have to
yeah,
be an apologize on Twitter. I mean, just call your brother and let him know, but like, hey, my bad. I meant this as a joke, trying to be ha ha funny. Didn't know about, what you were talking about here. So, my bad,
yeah.
man. But
And to Perkins's credit, before he even sent out the tweet about spreading lies, because I think this was what he sent out first. He quoted the tweet from Serge Ibaka and said, "Hey, at Serge Ibaka, my bad, homie. If I offended you, it was a joke. My bad if it made you feel some type of way. My apologies, my brother." And that was before anything with the spreading lies or the what we did or what you did in the locker room or anything like that. So I don't know if they've had a chance to, get on the phone and kind of hash it out between the two of them or anything like that. But I mean, going back to what we were talking about, even for me, I before I grew out my beard, I kind of experienced it this way, where I was either told I looked older with the beard than I actually am, or I look younger without the beard
mhm.
than I actually am. So it's I don't think it's necessarily trying to be negative. I understand the differences. Obviously I'm not African or anything like that. I can't speak to that experience. um, but it is something that happens in greater portion of society. If you don't know and you're just kind of speculating based on appearance, I mean, it's unfortunate. That's about the only real context clues that people have with strangers at times, though. So
Yeah, and I didn't actually see that apology tweet.
Mhm.
when he put that out. I mean, it's what I'm looking at. It's here in text, but I never saw the tweet. I think that might
Yeah.
be the one that I missed out of all the string of tweets. But
Sent that
yeah, I
just
see it
before
now.
4 Eastern on Monday afternoon, and then at 4:09 Eastern was the "Did you say spreading lies?" tweet.
Also, it's like nine
So
minutes later. Okay,
yeah, so
I missed
there's
it.
about a span of like 20 minutes where
Yeah.
Perkins quotes the tweet and says, "I'm sorry if I offended you. It was just a joke," and then Serge sends his next tweet, and in that span before Kendrick Perkins catches wind of it and says, you don't want me necessarily saying what went on in that locker room or
Yeah.
anything like that, which I'm intrigued because I kind of want to know now. I want
Yeah.
I
Spill the
want the tea to be
tea.
spilled.
The tea. We need the tea, but
Please. I mean,
we don't know.
that OKC team was the one that knocked the Mavs out, and
Hmm.
I'd kind of like to know if there was something going on that shouldn't have been, perhaps,
Oh, I'm
that
sure we'll
allowed
get some stuff later on from the whole team. Maybe we'll get
a
a
30 for
doc.
30 or something like
Yeah,
that.
a little doc from them.
Yeah,
The team that never was, all those young MVPs. They've got to make something later. Like once
yeah,
these careers are winding down for these guys, like sit down and reminisce about, oh, 10 years ago, oh, 15 years ago. Maybe that's what they were doing this
yeah,
year. They're like, what do you think
perhaps,
about
yeah.
10 years ago? Yeah. But yeah, that's we'll see if anything further comes of that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm sure there won't be, but
it's time
I've been wrong.
for BJ's Best.
Well, thank you, Drew. So I preface this by saying I'd love to have the video context so that I can show it as opposed to trying to describe it. But caught my attention on TikTok. Believe it or not, Drew, you know, TikTok. I resisted for a long time, but I unfortunately I guess I've gotten with the times,
You and
and
me both.
yeah, and I've
I
seen.
spend over like an hour every time I get on that thing, as I have
Yeah,
such a good algorithm at this
you
point.
yeah, you lose like track of time because it's just like you watch one video, it's like, okay, that was funny, and then you watch another, and before you know it, it's like, wait, is it already time to go to bed?
All right.
So, but this one caught my eye, and it's for a good reason. I thought, this one would be a fantastic way to close out the year of 2022. Um, it's gonna probably get pull at your heartstrings just a little bit. So
Okay.
this is a user at Wit by Ram, WHITBYRAM. And what caught my eye first was they had a viral video that was this man and his dad, and it's gotten almost 16 million views to this point, Drew.
16 million.
Mhm.
Ooh.
This man and his dad is in a wheelchair and has a breathing tube in his nose, and they're talking because the father has had, I believe he had a stroke, and so they're kind of talking, and this is it's sad because this is a whatever, I think this was a cancer diagnosis too or something. I'm trying to remember exactly. So what happened was the son had surprised his dad with tickets to a Cowboys game. The dad is a huge Cowboys fan,
Hmm.
and they were going to go see a game together one year as present. And then the dad had a stroke, and they weren't able to go.
Mm.
Um, and then so that was what the pre-story was. Um, Earlier this year, when this video was taken, I think it was back in August. Um, the father had been told that he didn't have too much time left as a result of I think, like I said, I think he'd been diagnosed with cancer, and is in pretty rough shape. And it starts off, and I can probably play a little bit of the audio of this, but the um, the dad is pretty much knowing what's about to happen, and is at peace with it that he's about to leave this earth, and so it's a one that makes you tear up because the son has so much love for his dad, and you can see it, and just I'm not ready, and the father says I am, or something like that, and just says it's going to be all right. And there's something in there. The line is, I don't think we're going to be able to see a Cowboys game this year after all. So that it just breaks your heart. The dad died earlier in 2022, and what that leads into is the son is being given tickets for he and his wife to go to tonight's game in Nashville. They live actually over in Tennessee, and so they're going to the Cowboys Titans game. That was the Christmas present. But
Hey.
the the video was posted before Christmas and before the husband had a chance to unwrap the gift, and so it was like, kind of keep this a secret. Don't say anything to my husband. He doesn't know. He'll be finding out last Friday, which was the 23rd. A couple days before Christmas, that they were going to go to the game. And what the wife did was have videos recorded sent to her and her husband to kind of spread the news that he was going to get to go to the Cowboys game in honor
Mhm.
of his dad. And it just, it really, they got so many reviews, so many responses and videos sent in, and even Dak Prescott, I think, sent a video to them about the story. And just, you
Heck
know,
yeah.
obviously it's going to be emotional to try to go through that
Oh
again,
yeah.
but the just humanity rising above and being able to do something nice for somebody that we don't know from Adam, Drew, you and I, but
Right.
he and his dad, Cowboys fans, and you know, and they are, his dad is going to be with him in spirit for sure tonight at
He's
that
gonna
Cowboys
be at the
game.
game.
Yeah.
He'll be
So
there.
so that was BJ's best. Very emotional. Obviously, it was tough to even try to just remember enough of watching that video, and I know I couldn't have gone through it again without a tear coming to my eye. So put away those onions, guys. Put them away.
Excellent, excellent, BJ. Appreciate
Absolutely.
your BJ's best today.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed this segment since we introduced it earlier
Heck
this year.
yeah.
So,
There you go. Take full advantage all the time.
absolutely.
Just like you guys need to do with the NBA season as it continues to heat up and melt away those cold days that we had. There are still so many unknown games to decide on, like whatever's going on tonight. BJ, there's some games going on, and everybody needs to get in on the action. What I'm looking to get in on the action, I bet with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, new customers can bet just $5 pregame money line on any NBA team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do it.
Yeah, that's right, Drew. And check this out. Right now, everyone can earn up to a 100% boost with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. So, everybody's talking about what Luka did. You and I both talked about what Luka did on Tuesday night. Well, Mavericks are back at home Thursday night to take on the Houston Rockets. And, they won and won in Houston just about a week or so ago. And Luka in that game, if I'm not mistaken, Drew, had a pretty big outing. He went for 50 points against the Rockets the last time they played. So it's been just a 50 pointer on Friday, 60 points Tuesday, 50 points and 8 rebounds and 10 assists. Just missing out on a 50-point triple double on Friday night. He topped that on Tuesday night. But either way, if you think the Mavericks are going to be able to be victorious yet again, why don't you put your money where your mouth is? Also, going on in store for Friday's games, you've got the Lakers in Atlanta to take on the Hawks. I like Atlanta in that game, especially as the Lakers continue to have a little bit of some struggles without Anthony Davis. Also on tap is the Golden State Warriors hosting the Portland Trailblazers. Golden State still doing pretty well at home. I've been
Excellent
surprised.
at
They,
home, about
yeah,
15-2, I think.
yeah, something like that. It's been absurd, and I think they'll get it done yet again. I've got Golden State winning at home in front of the home crowd on Friday night to make it 16-2 home record as they go into 2023, hoping to get a game above 500. Well, if you want to follow my betting trends, here's what you do: you go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, place a same game parlay, combine multiple bets like which team's going to win, the ones I told you, total number of rebounds, much, much more is available for you to add to your same game parlay. And the more legs you add, the bigger the boost and the bigger your shot to win big.
Download the app now. Sign up with code TBPN, place a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA team to win their game, and get $150 in free bets if they do. That's code TBPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, Drew. Well, before we get wrapped back into that NBA action, Drew, it's time to find out one last time in 2022 what is on Drew's mind.
Well. What's on Drew's mind today, BJ, is just 2022. The best moments of 2022
Okay. All right.
in sports.
Oh, okay. There's been a lot of good ones, man.
Yeah, and I know it's some that we probably forget even happened this year because they happened all the way back in the
Way back
earlier
in
months.
January, yeah.
Here's a crazy one, BJ. You probably won't think this has happened just this year, but over and out, claiming an ankle injury, Tampa Bay Bucks wide receiver Antonio Brown refused to re-enter a road game against the New York Jets,
That's
and
right. That
instead,
was after New Year.
instead removed his jersey and exited the field.
Wow. I forgot
January
that was
2nd.
I forgot that was right at the start of the year. I thought that was late last year. It was late last football season, but happened in the calendar year of 2022.
And the following
Yeah.
day, Big Ben's goodbye. Big Ben left the only home field he ever knew and the only thing he ever cared about, a Steelers victory, 26-14 over the Browns, but only after circling Heinz Field to bask in the glory. And
Yeah, I do remember that
retire.
it was Big Ben retiring was this year. And then I'm sure you're going to mention it, but a very prominent retiring and then an unretiring happened this year. That was crazy.
Uh-huh. And then January 10th, avenging its only loss of the season, Georgia over Alabama,
Yeah.
33-18 to get their championship, and walk-on quarterback Stetson Bennett leading them to their championship.
And they've got a very good chance to win yet another one. This is a scary team, Drew. I'm telling you.
And then 11 days later, BJ, we're going to get into some women's basketball. This girl's already done some crazy stuff this year, and that's Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
She followed up 31-10-10 against Nebraska with 35-13-11 against Minnesota, becoming the first NCAA player, man or woman, with consecutive 30-point triple doubles.
Yeah, she is a phenomenal player. It's absurd to me that Caitlin Clark doesn't get talked about more than she does. I know there's a lot of talented players out there. You know, Elia Boston, the I'm forgetting her name, but Fudd on Connecticut, she went down with an injury. Yeah, and also her teammate Paige Bickers. There's just not a whole lot of love for Caitlin Clark, and she's been consistent year in year out the past couple of years for that Iowa team.
And BJ, it's crazy. We're still in January, but January 22nd, in the most nail-biting NFL playoff weekend ever, the Bengals, 49ers, Rams, and Chiefs all won divisional round games on walk-off scores with a combined margin of victory of just 15 points.
Yeah, I remember that very well, Drew. That was absurd.
A pick by linebacker Logan Wilson with 20 seconds remaining set up rookie Evan McPherson for a 52-yarder for the Bengals to win over the Titans 19-16. 49ers returned a block punt for a score with 4 minutes and 4 seconds left, then forced a 3-and-out that led to Robbie Gould's last-second 45-yard kick to beat the Packers 13-10. Next day, Rams over Bucks 30-27 as Tampa Bay and TB12 scored 24 unanswered points before Matt Gay played spoiler with a 30-yard field goal as time expired. And then last but not least, Chiefs over Bills 42-36, tied after a combined 25 points scored in the final 2 minutes. The Chiefs clinched an OT win when Pat Mahomes found Travis Kelce on an 8-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah, that was the best weekend of football we may ever see in our lifetimes.
It's not going to happen again.
You know, what's funny is I've forgotten that, you know, my mom had added some classes to her master's degree. That was this year. She finished it up back in like early the spring semester. And I remember I didn't get to watch football that weekend because I was helping her with her research and for one of her assignments or something. And that's like that weekend of all weekends.
Yeah.
But it's all good. I mean, I know she needed it and she appreciated that.
And
So
then January 25th, Big Papi David Ortiz, first designated hitter that has ever been voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame on the first ballot. First full time DH.
absolutely deserving of it too, Drew.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
we're still
then,
in January.
yep, and we're about to get out of it though, but this is the last one. January 30th, major surprise. Everyone assumed Rafael Nadal would break the record for Grand Slam titles at the French Open. The site of 14 of his 20 triumphs instead. He won number 21 in Australia, then, of course, netted 22 in Paris 5 months later.
Yeah, Rafa is a great tennis player, one of the best ever do it.
Let's see. We're not going to do all those twos. Let's see. Go down in sports. Let's get something crazy. Okay, some Winter Olympic stuff right here. Winter Olympics in Beijing, China, created unforgettable memories for athletes competing in their first games and their final games or making comebacks after previous disappointments. After placing a disappointing fifth in the 2018 Winter Games, U.S. figure skater Nathan Chen set an Olympic short program record, 113.97 points, and landed 5 quad jumps in the long program to win a Beijing gold.
Yeah, I forgot. I know I shouldn't have because it's an even numbered year, but it's been so long. I forgot that the Winter Olympics happened. Like completely forgot about them. Didn't really get to watch a whole lot of them, and just kind of completely forgot they were on.
All right. After this, I'm going to try and stick to basketball.
Okay.
February 13th, Matthew Stafford threw Cooper Cup a fourth quarter back shoulder pass to lift the Rams over the Bengals in Super Bowl, whatever that one was. Then made another perfect toss to one of his four daughters at confetti carpeted SoFi Stadium. They won 23-20 over the Bengals, Super Bowl champs.
Yeah.
Okay, now basketball stuff. All right, King of Threes, Steph Curry on February 20th was hot out of the box at the All-Star game, draining his first three over Trae Young on his way to making 16 threes,
I do
scoring a
remember
nice
that.
round 50 points and winning the inaugural Kobe Bryant MVP award.
That was a phenomenal performance from Steph Curry. I do remember that. That was. I know we talked about that. I'm sure we talked about that in an episode.
For sure. Let's keep going down here in basketball. Good luck topping Pop with win number 1,336. San Antonio Spurs coach Greg Popovich broke the NBA record held by Don Nelson, his one-time boss at Golden State. In 26 years, Pop has won 5 titles and 3 Coach of the Year honors. This was on March 11th.
Feels like he should have won Coach of the Year more than 3 times.
Right? It's crazy. And then on March 13th, triple 10,000 tuple, as this thing says. That's weird. On Carmelo Anthony's three, LeBron James became the first NBA player with 10,000 career points, rebounds, and assists. The only player to come close, Jason Kidd, who fell 1,275 rebounds shy.
Hmm. Yeah. I didn't know that Kid was the only other one that had come the closest to that.
I bet Westbrook will get it.
Westbrook is probably next closest. I mean, depending upon health and everything like that, Luka might be the next one up to get in there. Obviously,
And
got to play a long time.
in the madness, BJ, March 25th, patron saints of defense, the MAC champ St. Peter's 16-11 in the regular season squeaked into the NCAA tournament, then used its frenzied defense and deep rotation to upset second-seeded Kentucky, 7-seed Murray State, and 3-seed Purdue to become the Elite Eight's first 15 seed.
I do remember the Peacocks because you got to let them fly, man. They
Mm-hmm.
were all the buzz in the basketball tournament. They nearly became the first team seeded at 15 to get to the Final Four.
And this is going to be an extended what's on Drew's mind because we got some stuff. April 2nd, farewell Coach K. The numbers are staggering: 47 seasons, 1,202 wins, 5 national titles, 75 NBA players. Coach K's retirement after losing in the Final Four to North Carolina back on April 2nd.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was this year, but it feels like it was so long ago.
And then the next day, Dawn Staley got his South Carolina to its second national title in 5 seasons, keeping her undefeated coaching record in NCAA title games intact and handing Coach Auriemma his first national championship loss in 12 games.
Yeah, just phenomenal. Good for Dawn Staley and good for that South Carolina team.
And then the next game, April 4th. A tale of two halves. Kansas, down 15 at halftime, launched the largest comeback in NCAA Finals history, outscoring UNC 31-10. To start the second half, the 72-69 win handed Kansas its fourth national title and first since 2008.
Wow.
Crazy.
That was a crazy game.
Just into April. And next, we got some cool stuff here. April 14th, stepping into the box, taking over for an ejected first base coach. The Giants' Alyssa Nakin became the MLB's first woman on-field coach in 2020. The former Giants intern made history as the first woman to coach full-time in the bigs. Had to mention that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now back to basketball. Where's that at? Dun, da, 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 dun, da, 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 into May. BJ.
Play
Okay.
basketball in May.
Oh, goodness. There was a poster over Luka. I'm not going to talk about that.
Yikes.
It had Wiggins over Luka. That was, I don't want to relive that.
No, it's not.
Let's see if I can write something else. Warriors win another championship number 4, June 16th, over the Celtics, 103-90 in 6 games. Whoa. Oh, I said football. Why'd I do that? All right. It's taking too long to get all the way through, BJ. I don't know if you can hold out for me.
Yeah, I was just say that's been an awesome blast from the past. Just all the stuff that's happened this year alone is insane.
I'm gonna try and make it. All right. August 7th, Sue Bird retired from the WNBA in the final regular season home game of her 21-year career with the Seattle Storm. Sue Bird was preparing to inbound the ball when a young admirer offered her a flower and expressed the appreciation of fans everywhere. Super cool.
I do remember that.
Sue Bird, a GOAT, 4-time champ. More basketball. Into September. Oh, yeah, and got to mention this one. It's not basketball, but Serena retired back in September or the end of August. The GOAT of tennis.
Yeah, I was really hoping that she would get past, I think it's not Billie Jean King, but Margaret Court, I think, has the most titles, but it feels like it should be something that Serena has. If she's not up there tied, I think she's right around that.
September 18th, Las Vegas Aces win in Game 5 over the Connecticut Sun, 78-71, and Becky Hammon in her inaugural season wins Coach of the Year and the WNBA championship.
Well deserved for sure.
All right, into October, we'll see if we got any basketball things to round it out, BJ. Celtics honored Bill Russell with a patch after his passing back on October 18th and retired his jersey. Bill Russell had 11 NBA titles, 5 MVP awards, and was a leading advocate for social justice. More basketball. November here. Uh-oh. Oh, no, they got random stuff in here. Crossovers. We don't need that. That's not cool enough. Astros win again. Nobody cares. Anything else in the basketball world, BJ, that comes to mind before I make it through? World Cup final. Messi gets a World Cup.
How about Luka 60-21-10? I don't know if they put that in there, but they should.
Luka 61-20, and Ovechkin, second leading goal scorer all time in NHL history, has a chance to become the all-time leader, but he's not to keep playing.
He's still quite a bit of ways away from Gretzky, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it's doable though, and he'd do it in so many less games. Well, I don't know about so many by the time he gets there, but he'd probably do it in less games. But that's it. That's
not
the year
just that,
in review.
but Albert Pujols 700 career home runs, 62 home runs for Judge, a new American League record in baseball. Those were pretty significant for baseball at least too. So,
and that, BJ, is what's on Drew's mind.
Awesome, man! Great look back at 2022. Cheers to a year full of lots of great moments in sports. And, you know, if 2023 is as crazy as 2022 has been with some of the sports that we've gotten and some of the sporting moments, we might have some more gray hairs on our heads.
Are you trying to allude to the fact that I have some gray hairs on my
I'm
head?
talking about myself. There's a reason why I'm wearing this white hat. It hides the white hairs in my
Okay.
my head.
Okay.
Oh man. Anyway, Drew, thank you so much for taking us back to look at 2022. Get back into basketball exclusively here
Mm.
in the Lowdown. And Drew, we're going to talk about Nikola Jokic and, you know, what he's been able to do this year, Drew. Really feels like he does have I mean, he's got a fantastic argument to be up there and in consideration for a third straight MVP award. And that is something, Drew, you have to go back quite a bit of ways if it's, you know, going back as far as I think you have to go back to find the last three-peat MVP in the
BJ,
NBA.
here's what's gonna happen. Jokic is gonna get LeBron. He's gonna get swindled out of his third consecutive MVP
Mm-hmm.
for a nice, fresh young star to get his first,
Luka Doncic?
or Jason Tatum.
I like that. I mean,
Because, I mean, when Braun in 2011, why didn't Braun get that one? LeBron should have five-peated his MVPs and like had a ridiculous record that nobody would have been able to touch.
yeah.
But they gave it to Rose, and now
Mm,
like so many people in the league are averaging Derrick Rose numbers at this point. Like
yeah.
even rinky-dink people who aren't all stars are averaging Derrick Rose numbers. And in that season, LeBron's still arguably at that. I mean, we're not gonna LeBron versus.
That's another debate for another time.
But I mean, what is the likelihood if Giannis didn't get three straight? I don't know that they're gonna let Jokic get three straight. I think the voting's gonna be as weird as it's ever been when it comes down to it. Every little polling straw so far has not had Jokic. I don't even think in the top three. It's been like Giannis, Luka, Tatum, and then Jokic down there. Maybe I haven't seen the latest one, and maybe he's up there now. But at
Here's
first they weren't giving him the votes to do it. But I doubt Giannis is at the top of things now with the way the Bucks are playing. So
as of
I
as
feel like
of
it's going to be a.
December.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say as of December 23rd, the most recent edition
23rd.
of the Kia MVP ladder. So last Friday, Giannis comes in at number one. He was number
That's what I
two the
thought.
week before, and Nikola Jokic was at number two. He was at
Oh,
number
Jokic
three the
bunched
week
up to
before.
two. So who's
So
three?
they flipped around the top three. It was Tatum, then Antetokounmpo and Jokic. Now it's Antetokounmpo, Jokic, and Tatum at
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Kevin Durant up from 5 to 4, and John Morant falls from 4 to 5.
I bet
With
Luka
Zion
pops up
Williamson
there.
at 6. Luka should, I would expect,
Be
jump
up there
up
tomorrow.
considerably because he was tied for 7th with Joel Embiid last week. I could see both of them taking a jump up, and maybe John Morant takes a step down. I'm not sure who else you would move around, but that's where it was as of last Friday. It'll be interesting to see where things have moved around this coming Friday this week.
Yeah. So I don't know. Jokic, I mean, he's doing everything that deserves a third straight MVP, but I just feel like he's gonna get swindled out of it some way, shape, form, or fashion. I feel like the Nuggets might have to be the de facto number one seed for them to be like, okay, we absolutely cannot deny him of this. It's a near triple double. Um, he's doing it 3 years in a row. His team is better than it's been in the past couple of years. He's won it. So I mean, he's playing better. I mean, how can we
Yeah.
deny this guy? They're the number one seed in the West. They have the most wins in the West. How do we deny this guy third straight MVP?
Well, I mean, the,
And
the only
then
argument
they
that
do.
the only argument that you can really make, I saw something after Luka's performance with Tuesday night, and I think Antetokounmpo. I didn't mean to say Antetokounmpo. It's Giannis and or Antetokounmpo. Uh, what Giannis did the next night, or maybe it was also that night, I can't remember. He had 45, 10, and 8, I think, and he was the third player this season behind Luka did it on Tuesday, and then Nikola Jokic also had a 45, 10, and 5, I think, or maybe it's close to 10 assists. The only three players that have had 45 points, 10 boards, and 5 or more assists in a game. And they've all done it this season, which is the most that any season has had in NBA history, going back to the merger. So this is these are the top three guys for a reason. What they're doing, all on the same calendar year, it's really tough to make an argument. It really could just come down to, who's playing the best basketball at the end of the year, and that might be the what makes the difference. But
Who
right
plays
now, it is neck and neck.
and who plays the most games?
Hmm.
For the past
Yeah.
couple of years, that's been almost entirely what's kept Embiid away from an MVP. I mean,
Yes.
aside from Jokic playing incredible basketball, but if Embiid had played as many games, it might have been harder. We might have seen the first co-MVP in a really long time or something.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to be floating into that realm this year, but I think we'll have a new MVP, unfortunately, for Jokic. And if I had to put money on it, BJ, at this point, if he keeps playing the way he is and doesn't miss games like he did last year, I think Luka Doncic is going to get that MVP award. And the Mavs will get their first MVP since 2006, right? Six? When he won it? Yeah.
Yeah, when or 07, I think maybe when Dirk won it. One of those
I
two
think
years.
seven was Kobe. No, Garnett was one of those years. When was it?
Goodness, I thought Garnett was 08.
Oh,
I'm
no.
trying to remember. All right, let
Dirk
me give you
MVP.
some numbers. Because I wanted to see if who you would
Oh, seven,
just
Dirk. You're right.
okay. That's what I thought. I thought it was 07 because then the way that season ended, it
So
was
16
heartbreaking.
years ago.
Hmm. Um, so just under 32 points a game, over 11 rebounds, and over 5 assists per game. It's tough not to make an argument for Giannis Antetokounmpo, but when you talk about what Jokic is doing, just a shade under 25 with 11 boards and 9 assists per game, and he's got some of his guys back. He's not having to do it all on his own, and yet he's still putting up numbers like he has been the past couple of years. There's an argument to be made for Jokic. Tatum with 30, just shy of 31 points a game and 8 boards and 4 assists is also a contender. Yeah, I mean, there's more contenders, it feels like, this year than we've had in a long time. So that could be the MVP.
I put money on Luca right now.
I like it.
Well,
I
I'd
like
actually
it.
put money on three people. I put certain amounts of money on one player and then more on another. I'd bet on Luca. I'd bet on Jokic.
I like it. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. MVP talk as
Hmm.
well. And Drew, before we get this episode, last one of the year, can't hold anything back now. Let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. A lot of people, myself, I think you had some pretty high expectations for the T Wolves as well, with all the talent that they've got, especially young talent, making that trade to bring in Rudy Gobert, and the Timberwolves are slumping, struggling. What's the dealio with that?
And they are having all types of issues and are currently not even in the play-in, BJ.
That is
That is crazy. They spent all
just
that money
insane.
on Gobert this year, and he's underperformed this year. Carl Anthony Towns has been out for a little bit, and they just haven't been able to do anything with the rest of the crew that they've got.
Yeah,
And the Warriors have been able to materialize. They're at least at 500, with their struggles. Their horrible road performances plus no Steph Curry right now.
yeah,
And Timberwolves are just 2 games ahead of the Lakers.
yeah,
Whoa, a
yeah,
half game ahead of the Thunder.
yep, yeah,
Wow, two
yeah.
games back on the Jazz. Whoa,
Timberwolves are 2 games
lost
back
four
of the.
straight now.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa,
3-7 in their last 10.
ooh,
Mm, yeah,
whoa.
they
It's
got
just not working out in many, like, no matter the shuffle of stars that comes through. It seemed to only work a couple of times they made it to the playoffs, BJ. The one time with Jimmy Butler and then last year. Did they make
yeah,
it last year, right? Yeah.
yeah. They were
Yeah.
in
It was versus
they
Grizz.
won into getting to the play-in,
Yeah. So,
that
I mean,
seven
two
seed.
playoff appearances in the billions of shuffles of stars and players of the past 4 to 5 years since Carl Anthony Towns and company showed up. And they just haven't been able to win games.
Yeah,
It is.
it's just, you look at what I mean. We can talk about all kinds of things with uh, with teams and everything like that. You look at the net rating for Minnesota. They are 17th. They're
Yeah.
a negative net rating at negative .5 this year. We can go and look at some of the other stats and everything like that, but it just I don't know what you can really point to. They're fifth in terms of pacing. You go and look at what the player impact estimate is, and for Minnesota they're 12th. That's not bad. They're right around with Sacramento, 50 and a half. But for whatever reason, Drew, and this may be part of the problem, you look at their offensive rating, they're 16th, so pretty much smack dab in the middle of the league at 112.2, just behind Golden State, just as it is in the standings. But defensively, Drew, this
Oof.
is another team that's right in the middle. They're 16 in both offensive and defensive ratings at 112.7, which is actually the same defensive rating that the Dallas Mavericks have.
What you're
Just
telling me is the Timberwolves are just alright.
yeah. I mean,
Just
they're
alright.
they're not terrible. They've got they're
That's right.
a
They're not
tenth
terrible.
tenth
They're
of a
not.
point off from where the Phoenix Suns are. Tenth of a
They're
point
not.
from the Atlanta Hawks. Toronto Raptors have the same defensive rating. You're talking about a team that is less than a full point defensive rating off of where the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics are. This is I just don't know what we can really say is the problem for Minnesota. I know it's not been necessarily the start they want, but they've got the talent. If they can just kind of mesh and click, you'd think that they'd be able to figure it out.
Are the Timberwolves a lock for the playoffs, BJ?
No, there's no locked in teams really. I don't think at this point. I think that you can make an argument for certain teams that look better than other teams, and you feel like they might have a good chance of being locked in. I think Denver and Memphis are looking pretty solid right now. LA Clippers and the Phoenix Suns, even with all that they withstood, Phoenix has the best point differential in the West, behind New Orleans, tied with the Grizzlies there. Um, so they're looking pretty good. But other than that, I really don't think there's a team in the Western Conference that's locked into the playoffs. And there's still a lot that can happen, a lot that can change with potential injuries or whatnot. It's not looking right now like the Timberwolves are locked in for the playoffs, but it doesn't look like they're locked to miss the playoffs either.
Right. And it's not like they can really do anything about it. I mean, they did all they could to bring Rudy here. They ain't got nothing else to shuffle around and bring in, I don't think.
Yeah,
Unless they want to bring in Melo and just pay some money to get this guy off the street and have him score some more points, whatever. But he probably won't see the floor. But still, Timberwolves, they just got to figure it out. They've just been stumbling and bumbling every year after year. And now Gobert's scoring, and it's gone down a point and a half this year. I just saw that. It was like 15.6 last year, it's 13.9 now. Um, and I don't know how much longer Karl Anthony Towns is going to be out. And why can't D'Lo Russell and Anthony Edwards man the ship
yeah,
with Gobert and make that thing work? You still got 3 stars. You can't get it done with 3 stars. You're 11th in
yeah.
the West, and you got 3 stars.
And the schedule, I mean, it doesn't necessarily get too much easier. You got
Yeah.
Milwaukee next last game of the year on Friday night, and then you get Detroit at home on a back to back, but that's a home game. You've got Denver coming to town, you've got Portland coming to town, and the LA Clippers. Those are, no gimmies, but they're at least toss up games. And then you get a couple of games in a row that you can win with Houston and Detroit. They are both road games, but you do get 3 days in between both those games on the road. So you've got opportunity to get a couple there before Phoenix, Cleveland, and Utah come to town. That's not necessarily a terrible stretch, but right now you're looking at 4 games under 500 at this point if you don't beat Milwaukee in Milwaukee. And so I don't know. It's going to take when we get to the All-Star break, when we get to this midway point of the season, we need to reevaluate and see like kind of what the strength of the schedule is going forward,
Yeah.
and then that would be the time where if you're Minnesota, if you've got a really tough strength of schedule coming up, that might be the time to panic.
And you mentioned you slid in something about the Pelicans, BJ. It's crazy. They're winning the way they are, and
Hmm.
Brandon Ingram's not even playing with them right
Yeah, I know. Zion really has finally gotten back
now.
and looking
Unleashed.
like he never left. He's been balling out the past couple of games.
What do you think's more likely to happen? Short-term decision from Minnesota. They tried to add another player, or bring up somebody from their G League affiliate, or they fire their head coach and look for someone else.
I think they're going to try to write this. I think they're going to try to write it out and see, okay, what can we do until we get Cat back? I don't think that's necessarily something to give up on just yet.
What if when you get Cat back, you keep losing, and it doesn't get much better, and you stay about where you are at the All-Star break?
They might need to consider
Are
a
you
change at
firing
that
the
point.
coach? If
I
you're the
wouldn't.
GM, are you firing?
I wouldn't, but again, I mean, it's not necessarily something that I have any control over. I think that this ship can get righted, and maybe it just takes that All-Star break and you kind of get to relax and kind of refigure out your team and get reacclimated, and hopefully everybody's healthy at that point. I think it's not lost necessarily, even if you get a couple losses right out of the gate and the All-Star break. But they were going to want to figure something out and maybe make a move before the trade deadline. I think that's the most realistic possibility. Now, ask me again when we get to late March, early April, and then my decision might be different. They might be
Right.
looking for a different head coach.
We'll see what's going to go down in Minnesota. They got to figure it out, though.
They sure do.
But it's time for some with it or quit it. That famous game, man. That famous game that has made it through another year on this show. Miraculous.
Yeah.
And
you'll get the honors of the first with it or quit it in 2023. How about that?
that's crazy. And I get the last one in 2022.
That's
How
right. I
about
don't
that?
even remember what we did last year, who was last and who went first or anything
No,
like that.
I bet I could find it really quick. Do you want me to find out really quick?
If you'd like to,
All
I
right,
mean, we
let's
can
toss it
look back and we'll see.
I've got it right here.
All right.
Oh, wait. 21. A little too far. Okay. All right. So,
The last of
with
21.
it or quit it person for 2021. Oh, it was me, but you started the year.
All right. So it cycles itself out. And so
Yeah.
you'd expect at the end of 2023 and going into 2024 that it would be.
You finishing the year is
Mhm.
maybe me starting or both for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Could be both.
Yeah. Now I got to find my page I was at.
Sorry.
No,
I thought that was worth a look back and see because I couldn't remember.
All right, we're back. All right, now it's time for with it or quit it.
Quit it or quit it.
Number 1. You, BJ Laudermilk, already have in mind a New Year's resolution for 2023. With it or quit it?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just talking about this the other day, so I'm absolutely with it. We kind of talked about it back in the summer. I kind of got off of the habits that I was trying to make. I've kept some, but I'd like to get back into making this blob of mess and looking a little bit better. Because I don't know about you, Drew, but 2023 marks big old number 10 since I graduated high school, and so that's
Same.
that's kind of like, oh crud, something's got to be done,
Yeah.
and so I'd like to kind of get back into that habit and try to take some weight off and keep it off this time. So
Okay.
I'm hopeful that I can get back into kind of not necessarily I'm not necessarily going to cut out everything that I love to eat. Just going to try to cut it back and make some healthier eating habits as well.
There you go. Better BJ.
Absolutely.
All right. Number 2. I like this one. I have to read it. The Memphis Grizzlies, in the end up more like the 2002 Sacramento Kings as opposed to the Golden State Warriors of today. With it or quit it?
Man, that's
probably question of the year.
Yeah, that is a it's a thinker. That is a thinker.
Ja's not worried about the West, and then that loss the other day.
Yeah.
What do we think about?
I mean, not necessarily arrogance there, but you gotta, if you're gonna talk the talk, you better be prepared to walk the walk. I don't know necessarily if I think that they're going to end up like the 0-2 Kings as opposed to the Warriors. I don't think that anybody is really going to be like the Warriors for a long time to come. I think we've got more parity in the league that we're not likely, I don't think, in the way that things are built up, that we're going to see anybody go on the run of championships that the Warriors did for quite a while.
No.
So I guess I'm gonna have to say with it, although I don't necessarily think that they're gonna necessarily be similar to the Kings.
Well, when I say the war, I mean not winning 4 championships, but like not getting
being in that
there.
place.
Like Warriors got there, Kings
Mhm.
didn't get there. That's basically
Yeah.
kind of what the question is. Like
Yeah.
not getting there like the Kings, who were always so close, or
Yeah.
actually getting there and potentially winning
Like the
something like the
Warriors
Warriors.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I guess I'll say with it.
Okay.
It's there's so much parity that they might make it an appearance or two, but I mean
I feel
that'd
like
be
the clock is ticking on Memphis.
yeah.
I think they've got this year and next year maximum to make the finals.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because they'll have to start moving some players out at some
Yeah.
point. Because people are going to want money.
Triple J, Desmond Bain, and
Yeah.
trying to keep Morant and company. So
Number 3. BJ, in 2022, you attended your first WNBA game.
hmm
I just want to know if in 2023 you'll attend your second WNBA game. Can we confirm that you are either with it or quit it?
I'm hoping to be with it, Drew. I got to
Okay.
look, and when the schedule, we've got the schedule come out. I got to make sure that it's going to fit into my schedule. But I'm absolutely going to try to get back to another game this year, or maybe even more than just the one. So I'm going to stay with it yet again.
Okay. Ooh, 3 straight with it. So, how are we going to end 2022, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, could we do it again? Let's see.
Well, hey, we're doing it live, so we didn't plan this out ahead of time, so we don't know either.
These are coin toss questions on the last 2. I'm not sure which way you'll go on either one of them. So let's see how it goes.
All right.
All right, number 4. You, BJ Laudermilk, are not afraid to take a stand. Oh, yeah. Not afraid and are in fact comfortable with going out alone by yourself, say to a movie or to a restaurant to eat. You are comfortable and not afraid to do it. With it or quit it.
Yeah, I'm with it. I'm not. I mean, not necessarily saying I'm afraid or anything. It's usually better when you've got somebody to talk to or anything like that. But every now and
But you'll
again,
go
it's
do it.
nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Will.
Right. Okay. All right. We're 4 for 4. Woo. Okay. This is a tough one.
Oh man.
Whew. It just
Now
depends.
I feel like the pressure's on to do
Oh,
it, whether I
man.
agree with it or not. I don't know. I don't want to. I want to be honest, but man.
This one, this is the decision maker. Number 5 to end 2022, BJ.
Oh, a lot
With
of
it or quit
pressure
it,
now.
question number 5. You, BJ Laudermilk, would rather go and pick up food as opposed to it be delivered to you. With it or quit it.
I don't know if you've asked me this one before. It feels like you have, but Drew, by golly, you're gonna get a 5 for 5 with the with it.
Let's go!
Oh man, I didn't
He's
even
with it,
expect
ladies
that.
and gentlemen.
How
Bing,
did we
bing,
do that?
Bing, bing, bing. I didn't even aim to do it this time, but we got it anyway.
Oh man.
Bing, 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 bing. A 2 for ladies and gentlemen. Let's get out of 2 with it or quit it. 5 Pete's for BJ Laudermilk in 2022.
I don't
Come
have a
on.
problem. I don't have a problem with food being delivered, but
That's right.
most of the time, I mean, I'm so used to going and getting it and bringing it back that it doesn't faze me or anything like that. It's easier because once it's ready, I mean, I don't have to wait for somebody driving around or anything like that. Once it's ready, I can get it, and I know how long it's going to take me to get home with it. So
there you go.
So I'm absolutely with it, man. Not even intending to be, but
Let's go.
Here we are.
That's great. That's a good way to finish off with it or quit it for 2022. By God, that's a heck of a clip as well.
Man.
That is with it or quit it for today and 2022.
Fantastic stuff, Drew. Hey, we want to, before we wrap up for the year, want to make sure if you're not already with it, why don't you go ahead and head on over to our shop at T Public. Drew, what you got in store for some merch over there?
Man,
you can get one of these shirts.
Last minute sales to finish the year, ladies and gentlemen. It's still a little breezy out there. Get your crew necks, your long sleeves, and your hoodies. The Lowdown got them selling out there. T Public. sales site-wide up to 35 or 40% off. Go get them now. And then, BJ, they've got some stuff going on at Fanatics. This is where I got the shirt from, as a matter of fact, from Fanatics. This Dallas Cowboys polo
Love it.
that you
Yeah.
can also go get yourselves as well. And I'm sure they've got a site-wide discount right now as well.
I think, yeah, they do, Drew. I was going to say, I got a couple Christmas gifts, I feel like, that came in from Fanatics. I didn't
There you
ask
go.
the people that got the gifts for me, but I'm sure that's where they got them. I got some Christmas gifts myself, in fact, that I bought, that I gave to others that came from Fanatics. Using the link in our description helped
Let's
us out,
go.
save some money. And right now, Drew, for the rest of the year, it looks like you can get a some stuff from the college football playoff semifinals of this weekend. Close out the year with some merch, whether you're a Fiesta Bowl supporter of those hated Michigan Wolverines or the TCU Horned Frogs. Let's go Frogs. Maybe you like the Ohio State Buckeyes, who are over in the Peach Bowl taking on the defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs. Well, right now, Drew, up to 70% off a clearance sale. Deal is ending soon. I'm sure they've got other stuff in store as well for the last of the year, with this 70% off, free shipping on orders over $24. You want to use code 24SHIP. That is 24SHIP over at Fanatics. I want to thank our friends at Fanatics and TeePublic for the support all year long and well into 2023 as well.
Yes, indeed. And make sure you go follow us to end 2022 and jump into 2023 with us at, if I can speak, at @the_lowdown. That's THA_lowdown on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure, 2022. It's been fun, as this recorded on the last Thursday of 2022. Cowboys football coming up here pretty soon.
Yes, sir. Go boys.
We'll catch you guys next week in 2023. Peace.